So hi, and welcome to our discussion today all around sustainability and driving impact around technology. So I'd like to really thank our panelists here and everyone for joining in and listening to the discussion today. Primarily what we'll talk about is a wide range of how we're starting to see technology enable sustainable solutions, whether that's through data, whether that's through asset performance, analytics, monitoring, and really looking at how industrials are starting to drive to find sustainable solutions. So I want to hand it over to our panelists to give a quick introduction of yourself as well as your company.
My name is Dennis Nash. I'm with Control Station, Inc., president of the company. We focus on PID control and optimization of plant performance.
I'm Tim Shope. I'm Vice President of Digital Transformation for Anderson Hauser. We're a Swiss-based company globally, roughly about $4 billion in instrumentation sales.
Greg Jackson with Smart Sites, which is a combination of two companies that have been around for a long time, a company called XL Reporter, another one called Win 911, and I'm the COO. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Hey, well, Greg, I'm going to start with you, if you don't mind, and we're really going to start diving into data. So what data sources do you really feel are critical as it pertains to optimizing manufacturing?
One of the things that we've seen is smarter and smarter instruments and IoT devices. You have to be able to collect data. Historically, for us, it's been a combination of SCADA systems, and one of the things that is, I think, an opportunity and a bit of a frustration is how old some of the systems are. So a lot of these new ones have been layered in smartly, but there's still this legacy component of people running these systems that need to be pulled forward. And so there's more and more compelling reasons as people look at, sustainability and other reasons to get more efficient, that they'll actually abandon some of that and actually, pull their systems forward.
Tim, as I look to you in terms of how are you starting to collaborate with customers around sustainability and assessing maybe what they're doing today and what they'd like to do tomorrow?
So along the same lines, we're being asked for more and more instrumentation that can be very remote. Wireless technology is certainly a huge part of our portfolio today. How do we get data directly from the instrument to the cloud as opposed to the traditional stack of wiring it all the way up and going through historians all the way to an ERP system? Today we can go directly to wherever we need to go. And that's making a huge difference in the accessibility and ease of installation.
So Dennis, turning to you, how do you start to empower individuals to really maximize the value of their technology investments?
Training, right, is a cornerstone of all of the businesses represented here today. There's quite a bit of need in this marketplace for individuals with the gray matter upstairs who can apply the technologies that each of these companies, these partners of Rockwell Automation, bring to bear so that the fruits of these sustainability initiatives can be borne out. We're finding in our space of PID, or process control, that there's a waning number of graduates from chemical engineering programs who can pick up the torch and carry it forward. So not only the bringing together of the different disciplines, but also bridging between academia and actual industry.
I think there's going to be stronger and stronger parallels as it comes to how do we get the right workforce of tomorrow to be trained appropriately in the right educational systems to then be able to launch successfully.
I think that's actually one of the more interesting challenges is that ongoing, how do you do it? How do you make it in bite-sized chunks? There's so much science that goes into it, and then there's expertise that lends itself to it, and then how do you enable these and get people interested in it? And I always contend that if you get some of the younger generation to get into a plant, how can you not be fascinated by the equipment and what's going on?
You know that we've been for decades talking about the aging workforce and the problems that will present. Well, it's presented itself. It's here, it's now. And the ability to get youth excited about these opportunities, I think is going to be a lightning rod issue. I think the three of us, maybe yourself as well, Korean, anytime you walk into a plant environment and you see how things are made, you can't help but get excited. So maybe we just need more classroom tours of plant floors.
Yep, classroom tours. Well, one quick thing to just be aware of is Rockwell is doing clock tower farms. Vertical farming is absolutely going to become integral in where we go in the future as it pertains to agriculture. And part of our initiative, so yes, you're going to get access to clean veggies and fruit and all of that, but you're also going to see the latest and greatest automation. You're going to see how control systems work and how you can leverage technology to really build a more bountiful world.
The other thing I was going to add is I think we have to get to where we're making these things simpler and simpler and simpler, right? I kind of equate it to 10 or 15 years ago, you'd buy a house and it would say pre-wired for ADT or Honeywell, whoever the alarm system is. Today, nobody buys that. You go down to Best Buy and you get a $300 box of Ring doorbell stuff and you install it in 7 minutes, right? I mean, how do we get to that ease of enablement for the next generation?
And that price point.
Yes.
Yeah.
That really weaves nicely into our next key area of focus, which is around analytics, asset performance, and monitoring. In the context of companies making these big, bold bets around sustainability, whether it's around energy consumption, waste reduction, water conservation, how does monitoring, analytics, control systems really drive success in achieving those goals?
The ease of ingestion of data is changing a lot of the mindsets around asset performance, energy consumption, as well as the intelligence that's built into the devices today. So, if you're looking at steam consumption, steam quality, gas analyzers, et cetera, being able to know that not only is your control system working, is your 4-20 working, but knowing that that asset is healthy and being able to remotely diagnose it, being able for it to tell you when it has a problem is a huge component of it, right? As we start looking at carbon capture and carbon offsets, accuracy of those instruments is critical.
Absolutely critical. And then being able to understand where is energy consumption with those plants are extremely heavy in terms of energy.
I think that's where cloud computing comes in handy today. You're able to converge more and more data. You're able to understand the energy consumption where it is, whether it's as efficient as it was yesterday or more efficient today, hopefully. The ability to converge that data and contextualize it is huge.
How does the proactive analysis of asset performance at a plant, enterprise level, machine level, however, specific batch, you name it, how does that really contribute to sustainable operations?
A manufacturer is going to spend millions of dollars just establishing a factory. With whether hundreds or thousands of individual PID control loops, it's pressing for a manufacturer's operations team to understand which one of the hundreds or thousands of controllers is the bad actor. The proactive monitoring of all of those individual controllers, from our standpoint, allows a much smaller, more efficient operations staff to pinpoint those issue areas before they become problems. And ultimately, that's the goal, right, is to find degrading performance before it actually becomes a sustainability issue, before it hits productivity and downtime. And so the tools that companies like Control Station and others up here are bringing to the market, we're equipping the production team, the engineering and maintenance teams with the visibility into those problem areas by capitalizing on this growing pool of process data. And to a point that Tim was making earlier, distilling it into very simple and actionable bits of information, because without that transformation of the data into something that's digestible, it's just more gobbledygook that doesn't really help the sustainability initiative.
Absolutely. Catch the problem before it becomes a problem.
Right.
Absolutely. That plays very nicely, Greg, into notifications and that proactive approach. How do you really start to see that monitoring and notification process enable some of these catches before they become larger issues?
Sure. Well, for us, it's critical to be able to do that surgically. So how do you actually be able to just listen in and subscribe to a particular problem? And when you know that it could become a bigger problem, to capture that information, deliver it out to a person, via tablet or a mobile phone, or call them in some instances. And so those, if there's an anomaly that's going on, you can't flood everybody with every single alarm. One of the things that we've been working on lately is, okay, that's great that you have this alarm that somebody needs to respond to in the plant, and make sure you get it to the right person at the right time, the right device. But can you deliver some additional intelligence with it in the form of a quick snapshot, right? Hey, here's how this particular pump's performed, or here's what's going on with this particular compressor or this tank, whatever it may be, so that they can make an informed decision about it. And so, we're seeing with the proliferation of data, right, you have to sift through that a lot more surgically than you've ever had to before, because there's so much more of it. And then there's the mobility factor. There's fewer people sitting in the control room in many cases. So how do you actually take that, get it out to them in an efficient manner in the way that they want to be communicated with?
That's one of the things we're doing at Anderson Hauser with our Natillion Cloud Connected Services. If we have an asset that's connected and it has a maintenance issue or maintenance condition, it can actually write its own work order to get itself repaired. So we've done a number of instances using Rockwell's Fix, where the instrument has a problem, it sends a notification to Fix writes a work order. It actually transmits all the data and library documentation for the instrument to the tech. And so the instrument's literally phone at home when it's got a problem.
That's amazing.
So you're getting to the point of autonomous maintenance.
It's the right info to the right person at the right time to be able to make the right decision. Absolutely. Instrumental. No pun intended. All right, let's talk about the future and kind of these big, bold bets as it pertains to sustainability. So Dennis, I'm going to start with you. How does enhancing sustainability training or awareness really contribute to overall sustainability initiatives in particular?
I believe that there's quite a bit of awareness of sustainability, more so today than in years past. I don't know that sustainability is the problem. I do think that training is going to be an issue. And it's bringing up the diverse disciplines represented by the three of us up here within the Rockwell family, and how to prepare the workforce of the future to manage this evolving control room environment.
So Craig, looking towards the future of many plants as they start to make progress on a lot of the goals that they've set, how do you really work towards prioritizing these efforts and encouraging them to be led with sustainability in mind?
The average age of an automation platform being 16, 18 years old in North America. I think as people look at a couple different things, they're prioritizing how do we pull those systems forward. Oftentimes, companies are really smart about this in terms of saying, hey, if we have, as a company, we want to be a good citizen. We want to make sure that we're maximizing, the efficiency, whether it's, water that they're putting back into a slough or into a river, or be more energy, efficient in terms of their production. And so I think what's interesting is you see the budgeting process, and people are being able to say, okay, I know I need to make some of these improvements for A, B, and C reasons, but then you layer in some of the sustainability initiatives, and that might give them an extra pool of dollars that they can go after. There's a whole bunch of other benefits that come from doing that in a smart way. And companies are pretty good at figuring out, whether there's an incentive that they may be able to get, right? Maybe there's some local grants or those types of things. I think in terms of investments in new systems and training and development programs and, better instrumentation and all those types of things kind of come together. And ultimately, it helps companies be more profitable and better stewards of, the community that they operate in, and that's good for everybody.
I like to look at it in terms of people, profit, planet. I think that's become a good phrase that many organizations start to look at in terms of, hey, if we figure out energy reduction projects, that's it directly impacting my bottom line, right? That's equivalent to profit, and being able to then recirculate those dollars, to your point, into the right areas of investment for potential technology upgrades. But we also can't forget, Greg, to your point, there's aging infrastructure today, plants today that need to figure out how to move forward as well. So it's build from the ground up, build the right way, leverage the incoming money from governments and local incentives, and then also bring the existing plants along and make sure that they're up to speed and up to date with technology to be able to capitalize on the right areas of investment. How do you, as you're working with companies and organizations, start to identify some of those opportunities of growth as it pertains to sustainable outcomes?
It can be all over the board. It can be from a workforce issue. We have a number of process training units across the U.S. where we actually train a lot of back to your point of where are the skills coming from, and we do a lot of work with universities in those programs. But then you start looking at energy consumption, energy used inside a facility. So as I said earlier, we're seeing more and more instrumentation throughout facilities to monitor, steam temperature, steam pressure, and be good stewards with that energy that they are consuming.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of industries, as they're getting up to speed, whether it is the carbon captures, the green hydrogens, are looking towards technology providers like yourselves to help architect the right system from the ground up.
I think that as partners within the Rockwell partner family, we're all seeing our manufacturing customers look to us for something beyond just technology, whether it be hardware or software, and we're able to provide a valuable bridge, whether on a short or a long-term basis, to provide important, relevant domain expertise to supplement their staffing, their resourcing challenges. And I think that the three of us would all attest that that's one of the fastest growing areas in our businesses. The great ideas that these novel technology companies have, these manufacturers of carbon capture and whatnot, they're going to need to rely on more than just the core team that they have. That's my belief.
Absolutely.
Also, project services, right? I mean, we went a very long time in the U.S. without running a lot of greenfield projects, and so there's kind of been a gap there that has to be filled, and we're doing more and more project services to start up and commission those facilities.
Absolutely. Great points. All right, well, thank you all for sharing your insights today, your thoughts, your forward-thinking ideas, and where you're really seeing sustainability impact your business as well as the market today. Really appreciate it.